I'm joined on the sofa now by Jane McGonigal, who is an author and games developer, and by Mark Holdum, who is head of planning at PhD. Why he is here will be revealed in a bit. Jane, you've been here to talk gaming, specifically to tell us that gaming is not necessarily a bad thing, in fact not a bad thing at all, and it could be good and it can make the world a better place. You came up with some really interesting stats, so why don't we start there?
Well, some people are alarmed about gaming because we're spending 7 billion hours a week playing games, and that seems like a waste of time. But research is now showing that the more you play games, up to 21 hours a week, the more motivated you are to solve more ambitious challenges, the more resilient you are in the face of failure, and the better able you are to collaborate with other people.
You told the audience today about how we can sort of harness that. Why is gaming good for you?
Well, if you put gamers into the fMRI machine, which shows the different parts of the brain, how they're being lit up during activity, you see that the parts of the brain that are really lit up during gameplay are the motivation reward center and the learning and memory center. So you've got sort of caudate thalamus, makes you feel really determined, you'll do whatever it takes to reach your goal. And you've got the hippocampus, which helps you learn new information, develop new habits, continue on with behavior that you've been practicing. So you have this opportunity to teach somebody a new skill, get them feeling really optimistic and ambitious, and then lock that way of thinking in because you've got, the memories being committed during the gameplay.
So if your son or daughter's upstairs on the computer or on their tablet, increasingly these days, you don't necessarily have to fret. They could be doing themselves some good. Exactly,
and the kind of games you really want them to be playing are either games that are really hard for them, so they're failing a lot. We like to see gamers fail at least 80% of the time to really develop these benefits, and playing games that are collaborative or cooperative or team-based. So if you're just competing, it's actually not that good for you. But if you're playing with a team or you're working together on a social game, it's massively better for you.
And Mark, you've collaborated with Jane, and you've kind of introduced a gaming element to your day-to-day work practices, in essence. Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so PhD is a media planning and buying company, we're a global company, and what we thought would be a good thing to do would be to try and gamify it, so that when people in PhD come to work each day, they sort of effectively come and play a game. And how it works is that everything you can do within PhD can now be done within a sort of a touchscreen gamified environment, from setting up a brief, defining a target audience, setting roll for comms, coming up with best channel mixes, all that sort of stuff. And the better you are at it, the more pings you get. If you want to get lots of pings, you collaborate, and you can collaborate with someone in the UK can crack an idea for someone in China as that person in China is trying to crack an idea for a campaign. So it means that work becomes play and planning becomes socialised, and that's the way that PhD is starting to change the way it works.
And then massive prizes if you come top at the end of every month?
Well, it's interesting, motivation for getting people engaged over a long period of time in gaming is often intrinsic, not extrinsic. So focusing on the internal sort of benefits you get, like what Jane talks about, are much more important motivators and much more enduring motivators than actually having prizes necessarily.
Jane, could we extend this? I mean, could you put the gaming element into, I don't know, tax returns or anything at all, something that would incentivize me to get it back on time if I don't know, beat my next door neighbor?
Yeah, the government should look into that. I mean, my personal game development, the area that I'm working on now, is for treating traumatic brain injury, depression, and anxiety without drugs using games. So we just finished our first randomized control study of a game that I created called Super Better for treating depression without drugs. They are very positive findings that make me optimistic that the sort of hacking into your brain with games can help you be happier in your everyday life.
Okay, well there's no game element to the sofa chats, but maybe next year. I mean, Mark, Jane, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much.